from Chicago and the Philippines. A comprehensive review of the week's special community events, featuring many exciting personalities, handled by the most professional Chicago Philippine Reports TV staff.
The Philippine Health Department asserts all COVID vaccines with emergency use authorization in the country are effective and safe to use. This after Singapore excluded Sinovac jabs from its vaccination tally.
Ang sinasabi ng Singapore, mag-aantay sila ng datos galing sa manufacturers ng Sinovac. But they did not say na ayaw nila kasi hindi nakakapagpakita ng magandang proteksyon sa kanilang kababayan. Meron na mga pag-aaral na lumalabas sa ibang bansa na naisagawa na itong Sinovac vaccine na ito ay nakapagpalabas ng real-world study nga, and it's saying na it's effective against hospitalizations, severe COVID-19, against deaths, and even symptomatic infections of COVID-19.
On Friday, the Philippines received another over 2 million AstraZeneca COVID vaccine doses donated through the COVAX facility. The World Health Organization urged the Philippine government to prioritize the vaccination of senior citizens and individuals with comorbidity in utilizing the donated jabs from COVAX.
This is a vital, important supply right now as we are looking at how we can increase the protection and coverage among the A2 and A3 groups. So we are urging the government to use these vaccines to ensure that the A2 and A3 groups have received their full vaccination for those who have received the first dose, and also to expand access to the other groups who have not received their first dose.
Of the 2,028,000 newly delivered AstraZeneca jabs, 1.5 million will be utilized as second dose for individuals who previously received the first jab. The remaining around 500,000 doses will be distributed nationwide as first dose for the top 3 priority sectors.
It will be dispersed to different nationwide area, and we will prioritize those areas with the vulnerable A1, A2, and A3.
The WHO said COVAX will also start delivering to the Philippines next week the donated vaccines from the United States. The U.S. donated more than 3 million Janssen COVID vaccines to the Philippines through COVAX. Galvez says each region will receive at least 100,000 Janssen doses, including the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao, which received the lowest allocation of COVID-19 vaccines due to logistical challenges.
Pag naglagay ka sa Suluan Tawi-Tawi, hindi po regular yung flights. And even within the area, kung may peace and order conflict during the time, so kailangan i-secure yung bakuna. And then kung may mga brownouts, so we cannot also give very large quantities of vaccines.
The UNICEF just went from Basilan and Tawi-Tawi and Basulta area, and we will heed to their recommendations that the BARM will be given also priority.
The government, meanwhile, began deploying to LGUs Friday the over 1.1 million AstraZeneca doses donated by Japan, which arrived in the Philippines Thursday night. Health Undersecretary Mirna Cabotaje says 94% of that shipment will be deployed to NCR Plus 8 areas. The AstraZeneca batch is set to expire on September, but Galvez expressed confidence the government can utilize the jabs before they expire.
Kaya nga sabi nga namin, kung may donate kayo na kahit na August or even 31 July, we can do it. Meron tayong makukuha na ang shelf life is July, pero hindi ko muna i-announce. Pero kaya namin.
The Philippines logged 5,800 new COVID-19 cases Friday. 70 more patients have died, while 3,000 more have recovered.
The country's COVID-19 task force allows local government units to decide on whether or not negative swab test results will be required from fully vaccinated travelers. The announcement comes after some local officials expressed concerns about the easing of restrictions on fully vaccinated individuals.
They can require, depending on the option that they wish to exercise, kung gusto nilang vaccination card, Siyempre, ang naging issue sa vaccination card, yung authentication and validation. So yung DICT is working on the digital certification, vaccine certification, and by July 31st, their commitment is to be able to upload and code 90% of the total vaccinated individuals.
In Boracay Island, negative swab test results will still be required for fully vaccinated tourists over fears vaccination cards could be faked.
At least siguro kung mayroon tayong unified card or may mga security code yung mga card na yan, ay pwede siguro na no need tayo atin. Pero sa ngayon, hanggat hindi pa natin ma-assure ang hindi pa tampered yung card na yan, ay delikado pa rin mamayon.
The IATF is also allowing children 5 years old and above to go outdoors in areas under general community quarantine and modified GCQ. But these outdoor areas will be limited to parks, playgrounds, beaches, biking and hiking trails, outdoor tourist sites, outdoor non-contact courts and venues, and al fresco dining establishments, and do not include mixed-use indoor-outdoor buildings and facilities such as malls and similar establishments.
Ang mga bata ay kinakailangan na babantayan ng mga adults at kinakailangan rin nilang mag-observe ng minimum public health standards katulad ng pagsusuot ng face masks at social distancing.
The new protocols cover Metro Manila, which is under GCQ with some restrictions until July 15. The IATF says local governments may increase the age restrictions of children depending on the COVID-19 situation in their localities. The IATF, meanwhile, authorized the conduct of special commercial flights to bring home Filipinos stranded in Oman, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, and other areas covered by travel restrictions to prevent the entry of new COVID-19 variants.
Ang special commercial flights ng mga subjects sa guidelines tulad ng pagkakaroon ng special working group para matukoy ang implementing protocols para sa special commercial flights in coordination with the concerned airlines.
The Department of Health, Bureau of Quarantine, OWA, DFA, Philippine Coast Guard, Department of Tourism, and the DOTR in its one-stop shop will compose a special working group for the special commercial flights, which will be exclusively for Filipinos. The IATF has also allowed the conduct of Foreign Service Officers examination oral tests on July 28 to 30 at the Department of Foreign Affairs.
When the U.S. imposed stay-at-home orders last year, many turned to pets for comfort. And now, as the country slowly emerges from isolation, the once beloved dogs and cats are ending up in shelters and adoption agencies. Take a look.
Stuck inside for the better part of the last year, many went looking for comfort and companionship in something cuddly and wholesome: dogs. Adoption spiked as the health crisis and feelings of isolation dragged on. But now in cities like Los Angeles, many dogs are being returned, says Chloe Esperiquet, the development coordinator at Wags and Walks Adoption Center.
We received, prior to the pandemic, like 5 to 10 inquiries per month for people who couldn't care for their dogs anymore. That's now increased up in the 20s per month, so it's like doubled since, in recent months.
For some owners, it's time to go back to work, leaving no one to care for their pets. For others, dog ownership is too much of a financial burden. Glenn Zipper, a former criminal prosecutor turned animal activist who has multiple animal shows on Netflix including Dogs and Cat People and has a docuseries in the works, says people should think twice before returning animals to shelters or adoption agencies.
I think the last thing you should do is immediately go to the shelter. Let people know that you can't care for your dog. Say that your dog is up for adoption, and let people come to you and meet the dog and make sure that you choose someone who can responsibly care for that dog and give the dog every bit as much love as you can.
Over 63 million American households own dogs, and nearly 43 million homes had cats as pets, according to a 2019 national survey by the American Pet Products Association. Esperiquet, concerned about finding homes for dogs in shelters post-pandemic, says the animal is not the problem.
A lot of the dogs that do come to us, though, come to us because they were inconvenient to somebody and they were dropped off at a shelter versus it being something that's wrong with them. So we really like to, show people that they're not damaged goods, that they were just a problem for somebody for some reason, and they ended up in a shelter for something that wasn't really their fault and that they didn't deserve.
ViaTimes ViaTimes, vital news, vibrant views for the Filipino Asian communities in Chicago. ViaTimes for your most interesting and exciting reading and your party coverages. ViaTime has very interesting columnists. You name it, ViaTimes has it. Law, Filipino news, dentistry, immigration, humor, serious opinions, health, beauty, mysticism, Bata Corner, showbiz, and intelligently written editorials. Call ViaTimes at 773-866-0811.
Magandang hapon po sa inyo lahat and welcome to Veronica's segment of the show today. I have a very interesting lady as a guest, and believe it or not, when I say interesting, she's really very interesting. And her name is Katie Spotz. Did I pronounce it right, Katie?
That's perfect. Thank you. Yep.
Okay, and Katie is known as an endurance athlete, an ambassador, and author into one. And let us hear from Katie. First thing, I would like to call her as a mighty woman with what she's doing. And first thing about your endurance, an endurance description as it is, how did you gain that title?
Yeah, so my journey to endurance really started on the bench. I was a bench warmer. I wasn't very fit. And so athletics was something I avoided in my early years, and I had to take a gym class to graduate from high school. So I picked the easiest class I could find, which was a walking running class. And it was really just out of sheer boredom of walking that I decided, hey, maybe I could try to run 1 mile. And it started from there. It started from not thinking that I could ever run 1 mile, and then learning that I could. And although it wasn't easy, and although it wasn't natural for me at first, I was really encouraged to know that I always said I couldn't do something and I was wrong. So I started to wonder if maybe I could run 2 miles and 3 miles. And through that gradual progression of 1 mile, that led me to running a marathon, to ultra marathons, to cycling and ultra cycling and swimming and rowing. And so it really was that little seed that was planted of doing 1 mile that got me curious to see what else I could do.
Amazing. How old were you when you started this?
So I was about 17 or 18, and I got hooked. Like, I definitely celebrated running 1 mile the same way some people celebrate doing a marathon. I was just, every mile and every new milestone was celebrated in a kind of like newfound discovery of what's really possible. So it was 18 that I did my first marathon. And soon after that I found out that adventures can be used as a platform for really great causes. And so I've been able to do these endurance challenges for about a decade. And the ultimate goal through them is to raise money for clean water. So as a result of the challenges, about 26,000 people have received clean water. And that's actually not including the last run that ended just a week ago. So I just finished running 11 ultra marathons in 11 days for 11 clean water projects. And an ultra marathon is basically anything more than the standard marathon distance, or 26 miles, with a 50K or 31 miles being the first of either that or a 50 miler, 100 miler. There's even 200 miler and 250 mile ultra marathons out there too.
Wow, amazing. What is your purpose in doing this?
Yeah, so one of my things is like that if you have a strong enough why, you could figure out how, and my why is water. about the same time I started learning about endurance challenges, I learned about the water crisis. And I think, knowing that these journeys last, the last run lasted 11 days. Rowing, I rowed across the Atlantic, that lasted 70 days, but the impact can last a lifetime. So knowing that what these adventures are doing to help others definitely fuels me to continue on. And then I also hope that other people, instead of being like, oh, wow, that's great that she could do that, I would prefer, and I would hope that people would instead say, oh, wow, maybe I could do something like that, or maybe I could do something more, even if it's not athletic and not necessarily even for water, but just to kind of uncover and discover their own potential.
So what do you do with the must be a philanthropic work as an ambassador to a philanthropy?
So I started partnering with an organization called H2O for Life, and with that partnership, they have worked with over 1 million students, mainly across the United States. So their focus is getting schools to help schools get clean water, because oftentimes kids aren't able to get an education and go to school because they're responsible for collecting water. And so there's definitely this school to school, understanding and approach. And so over the past, let's say like 3 to 5 years, we have been able to team up and partner with schools. So they've given me the opportunity to speak to over 100,000 students and really let them be the change makers and let them be the water warriors and give them the tools and the resources and the education and inspiration to do something. And so it's been really cool to see what the students have done. And one team of students, 2 sisters, actually started their own water nonprofit, and it's called Sisters for Water, where they make pot holders, and they've been funding thousands of dollars worth of water projects through the outreach. So there's definitely lots of stories of kids that have found their own way and use their own creativity to help with the water crisis.
Wow, very interesting. Is it a nonprofit organization that you organize for this?
So I am not the founder, or I did not start this organization, and I am really excited to work with them because they're kind of like the experts about all things nonprofit, and it frees me up to focus more on the athletics. And so they've been around, I think, since 2008, and they're based here in the States, in Minnesota. So it was founded by a woman named Patty Hall, and she was a middle school teacher that just found out about and wanted to help a school get clean water. And it was really just her inviting her own classroom, and it spread like wildfire, and other schools wanted to get involved. And so she never intended to start this nonprofit, but there were so many water warriors, so many kids that wanted to do something, and it's more a service learning opportunity, which I think is cool, because yes, people need clean water all over the world, but students also need purpose. They need to know what they do matters. And so they're filling another need while helping kids kind of just learn how to be leaders and develop things like empathy and care and concern for others.
Terrific mission for the school children. I congratulate you for that. And well, you also wrote a book about what you're doing. And can you please tell us, is this your first time to write a book about your mission?
Yeah, so it was, and I did team up with a co-author. So I think there's more to offer because he has more experience with writing. But I did have one endurance challenge was rowing a 19-foot rowboat by myself, no follow boat, no helicopter, from West Africa to South America. So I spent 70 days alone at sea, rowing 1 million oar strokes, and I had 30-foot waves and sharks and beautiful marine wildlife like dolphins and glowing plankton. And so it had all the highs, all the lows, and the name of that journey was Row for Water. So the goal through that event was to raise funds for water projects, and it did raise about $150,000. But one of the things that a couple years after the journey, when those experiences, I was able to kind of really learn from the journey. I think that you can learn from books, and you could also learn from nature. You can learn from experiences, and so there were a lot of things that I learned during that time. So it's basically 70 different life lessons that I hope that others can use on their journey. You don't need to go row an ocean. It's just there in the book. So
how big is the book? How many pages?
I want to say it's 300, but
Wow,
I do also include a lot of pictures. So I think there's like 50 black and whites. So, and then on my website, katiespotz.com, there are some more photos on my media page and on social media. Sometimes I, share a few of those photos and videos from the row.
where can our viewers get a book, a copy of the book?
Yeah, so the book is actually just on Amazon. So just keep rowing, and for Katie Spotz, and you should be able to find it. And then proceeds from the book do support water projects as well. So that's another way that we can continue to raise funds for clean water.
Well, how do you project the future of your water project?
Sorry, what was that? How do
you project the future of your water project?
So what's really cool about the way H2O for Life works is all their projects are WASH, WASH, and it's an acronym for water and sanitation and hygiene education. So one of the reasons why they are so effective is because they don't just do water. So they're finding that you really need to do it all. You need to have latrines to be able to go to the bathroom and not pollute your water source. You do need hand washing stations. You do need education. And so because their projects do have that kind of approach, that's something that helps with sustainability. And then they do work with their partners to have tracking and ongoing monitoring. And now with technology being more accessible, there are things where there's like sensors on the projects, and as time progresses, it's just getting better and better. But there's that's one of the biggest challenges is just starting projects is really fun, but it's very important that they continue to monitor their progress to make sure that they're actually working and being used.
All right. Well, Katie, I congratulate you for what you've been doing for not only for the community, but also for the children about the water project that you're doing. And also, I wish you good luck for more endurance participations that you'll be doing. One last word before we sign off. One last word from you to our viewing audience.
Oh yeah, okay. Just because you think you can't do something doesn't mean you're right. And basically that just, yeah, means that sometimes we're wrong when we think we can't do things, and the best way to find out is to try.
Great, terrific. I enjoyed interviewing you today, Katie, and I wish you more good luck. And it was really fascinating with what you're doing. And mabuhay. Mabuhay is our Tagalog word for good luck or long live. And maraming salamat is thank you.
Oh, thank you so much.
Bye now.
Bye. Have a good day.
Yan! Dito na! Perfect!
Magandang hapon po sa inyo lahat and welcome to Veronica's segment of the show. Today, my special guest is none other than the author of Hijack. And he will be talking to us about Hijack. I think this is his latest book about Dr. Martin Luther King. And it sounds very interesting, even from the title. Welcome to our show, Mr. Clarence Washington Sr.
Thank you.
Author of Hijack. Okay, can you please tell our viewing audience about Hijack? First thing, it is such a very attention-catching title. I like it.
Well, Hijack is about the reason why after 57 years, after Dr. Martin Luther King gave us the goals that must be achieved and the methods that must be used to achieve those goals to fix what is wrong with America, that we are still struggling with the inequalities that many people in America face. And so I dissected Dr. King's dream, which is supported by many of his other books and sermons and orations. And I broke it down into 4 goals that must be achieved and 3 methods that must be used to achieve those goals to fix what's wrong with America. And so, but also in the process of doing that, I did some apology on the fact that Dr. Martin Luther King, he believed in nonviolent resistance to the day that he took his last breath, because there are many people that have said that he became radicalized and he stopped believing in his nonviolent resistance so they could replace their methods for solving what's wrong with the methods with what's wrong with America with their own.
Oh, Mr. Washington, you were saying that you have 4 volumes of Hijack, or is the other book titled The Dream is the first volume? Which one?
Yes, that's the first one is The Dream. Yes, and that's what I just described. And then the second book is the Hijack. The third book is The Nightmare, and the 4th volume is The Recovery.
What is the purpose in writing the book?
Well, the purpose, the reason why I wrote the book was because there seems to be, at first I thought that, well, maybe people don't really understand that what they are doing is not according to the principles that Dr. Martin Luther King delineated. But then I realized that the real reason was that people have failed to admit that they're not following those principles. And so I wrote the book to clarify exactly what the principles were, exactly what methods that he had described that need to be used. So there's absolutely no doubt about what we should be doing to fix what's wrong with America. And then, you know, me being from Chicago, I was born and raised in Chicago, went to school in Chicago, graduated from Chicago, came straight out of school to my present location. And so after seeing all of the black on black crime and the many other things that are going on in Chicago, it was a very sensitive nature to me because I still have many family members and friends that still live in Chicago.
Who is your target audience in writing this book? Is there a particular audience you want to reach?
Well, all Americans are affected by what's going on in America, even though there are some people that are being more greatly affected by the nightmare that we're now experiencing, but we're all in this together. You know, as Dr. Martin Luther King said, that we may have came here on different boats, but we're all in the same, on different ships, but we're all in the same boat. So we're all affected by that. So it's really all Americans, but there's a particular emphasis on the Christian church, because in order to fix what's wrong with America, in order to follow Dr. Martin Luther King's methods, to strive to achieve his goals and to follow his methods, the church is going to have to lead our nation in a revival. So there's a particular emphasis on the church, a particular message to the church, a particular interest, a particular message to the Black church, if you will, because I believe that Black people in America, because of slavery and Jim Crow, that we are indeed the conscience of America, and we have a platform that commands to be heard that's greater than anybody else. And so on the one hand, all Americans are my target audience, or target audience. On the other hand, the Christian church in particular has a special role to play. And then more specific than that, the Black church, Black Christians, Black people in general have a very special calling, a very, very purpose in fixing what's wrong with America.
So do you particularly want to get the attention of the Black pastors and Black Christians in this book?
For sure, yes, I do. But I want it to be something that all Americans see as having a dog in the fight, because we are all Americans. We are all in this thing together. What happens to America is going to affect all of us. But yes, it is definitely a specific message to Black Christians, Black pastors, because whatever needs to be fixed with America, whatever is wrong with America, Black pastors have to take that responsibility. If be it politicians that are corrupt, whatever the problem is, it's the pulpit's fault, because our messages are powerful and effective in bringing about change.
Why not the non-Black religious people?
They are also, and what I'm saying is, I'm not saying that it's not all Christian people. What I'm saying is, I think that Black pastors have to take the lead role in bringing about racial reconciliation within the church, because until there's racial reconciliation within the church, then the church is not qualified to try and lead the rest of the people of the nation into racial reconciliation with the church. Sunday mornings are probably the most segregated time in America, because everybody goes to their own church. White people go to their church, Black people go to their church, Chinese Christians go to their church. And so we have to get together within the church before we can try and have a revival where there's racial reconciliation throughout America.
Is this your first attempt in writing a book?
No, it's not. I've written another book that's entitled Tools for Effective Prayer, the Mechanics, Dynamics, and Contents of Prayer. I've also written another book entitled Victory Every Day in Every Way, Kingdom Living According to Nehemiah the Governor. Both of those books are 400 plus pages. And so those are the two previous books that I wrote.
Why is it important to get the first volume of the book before reading the other volumes? The first volume is The Dream, right?
Yes.
It's important.
Yeah, it's important because the first volume really sets the groundwork or the foundation for the other volumes. You really need to know what what the dream methods are, what the dream goals are, and to know how some people are trying to say that Dr. Martin Luther King did not believe in the nonviolence resistance principles at the end of his life. And so you need all of these things to set the groundwork or as a foundation for reading The Hijack, which tells about all the various ways that his dream has been hijacked or derailed, and also to understand how those things have caused the nightmare, and also what all Americans must do to recover from the nightmare.
So are you planning right now to write a sequel to this book?
I think it's going to depend on what kind of response this gets. If this goes viral, I don't think I may not need to write another sequel. However, it's going to depend on how things go in America.
Okay, Mr. Washington. Okay, before we sign off from this interview, would you like to touch on other topics that you want to emphasize in this interview regarding your hijack book?
Well, I'd like to say that if people want more information, they can go to www.clarencewashingtonauthor.com, and I have all of the books are described on that website, my author website. They can also go to toolsforeffectiveprayer.com. They can also go to Amazon Author Central, all those websites, and receive information about me, and also about about all the volumes of Hijack, as well as the other books that I've written.
Great, terrific. Mr. Washington, I thank you for gracing our show today, being my interview guest, and also I wish you good luck for the success of your hijack book. And you are welcome if you're going to be writing another sequel to appear on our show again. And thank you so much. Maraming salamat. That's our thank you in our language.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
Maraming salamat po sa inyong panonood. Ako po si Veronica. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
would like to welcome all of you to Baladna Jewelry. We have a very big selection of 21 karat gold jewelry imported from the Middle East, from Dubai, Saudi, and Bahrain. And we have a very big selection of diamond. We offer free financing for 6 months, and we have a layaway system which you can leave your stuff for 3 months. We repair gold and we buy old gold. Welcome to Baladna Jewelry.
Salamat po.
Good afternoon, this is Brigitte Carino Cueter bringing you this week's local news from our community. A violent July 4th weekend featured at least 118 people shot in Chicago and New York City combined, according to reports. The historically violent weekend for Chicago saw 92 shot, including at least 16 fatalities, the most violent weekend of the year thus far, the Chicago Sun-Times reported. New York City saw 26 people shot, including 2 fatalities, Fox News reported. Chicago's violence also featured 2 police officers getting shot, one in the foot and one in the thigh, but their injuries were not life-threatening. There's been a lot of large crowd gatherings tonight, a lot of celebratory fireworks going off, kind of spontaneous, Chicago Police Superintendent David Brown told the Sun-Times. They were dispersing a crowd when they heard shots and felt pain. The violence comes after Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot spoke with City Council and law enforcement leaders in her city to address a crime surge. In recent weeks, in response to tragic incidents of violence in Cook County, some public officials have criticized the courts and, in particular, judicial decisions to impose electronic monitoring on some defendants rather than incarcerate them in Cook County Jail while they await trial. Both the public and elected and appointed officials must remember that bail reform, instituted by the Circuit Court of Cook County in 2017, is based on the constitutional principle that people should not be punished by imprisonment before they are tried unless they pose a significant danger to the community. A person charged with a crime is presumed innocent under the law, and the U.S. Constitution states that excessive bail shall not be required. A new survey from SafeWise reveals that as gun sales spike in Illinois, residents of the state are on edge about gun violence. More guns have been sold in Illinois than any other state in 2021, with the FBI reporting over 5 million firearm background checks performed in the state so far in 2021. Meanwhile, the nationwide SafeWise survey has found that Illinois is the most concerned state in the country about gun violence. SafeWise State of Safety in America in 2021 survey asked over 5,000 Americans about their perceptions of crime and safety and found that 83% of Illinois residents are highly concerned about gun violence daily, much higher than the U.S. average, which is 53%. Here are some other key stats. 50% of Illinois residents are worried about a gun violence incident happening to them. The U.S. average is 38%. 13% of Illinoisans reported that they or someone they know were a victim of gun violence in the last 12 months. 69% of Illinois residents think that crime is on the rise. 21% of Illinois residents say they protect their property with a firearm, up 1% from last year. 7% of Illinoisans say they carry a concealed firearm for personal protection. The Commission on Filipinos Overseas is extending the deadline to August 31st, 2021 for the submission of nomination to the 2021 Migration Advocacy and Media MAM Awards. This is to give way to numerous requests that we received from our local and overseas-based media and other migration advocates who are interested in joining. Established in 2011, the awards aim to recognize the significant role of the media in the promotion and advocacy of various issues on Filipino migration and development. CFO Secretary Francisco P. Acosta said that the awards are our modest tribute for the powerful influence of media in articulating and shaping the narrative of the Philippine migration, in advocating the cause of Filipinos overseas, and for showing the world the colorful journey of our Filipino migrants. That's all for today. Thank you for watching our news this week. This is Brigitte. See you next time.
Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Melody Dizon, your Health Matters host, and today I do have a special guest for you. Well, as you can see, I am out in the park. It's a little bit drizzling, but healthcare will never be out of topic in any of these functions. And with me is a very special guy. His name is Sam Smith.
Seriously?
Yeah, seriously, Sam Smith. I asked him what his favorite song is, but anyway, he does own buildings that help and facilitate, elderly. Is it mostly elderly?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Certainly.
elderly that lives in the home and just gets them maybe the resources that they need at home. So can you just tell me more about the homes that you have at this point?
Sure. We actually employ caregivers.
Okay.
So we're an agency that we are licensed by the Illinois Department of Public Health.
Okay.
Our office is in Lincolnwood. So we have mostly in their homes, but in different settings.
In different
so
settings.
all over the North Shore area,
Oh, that's
even downtown
wonderful.
Chicago.
That's great. So talking about caregivers, I know that a lot of Filipinos are doing caregiving because
Oh, yeah.
I just know that we care so much. There's so much to give.
Sure.
And I really salute for people who does that. It takes so much. I have so much respect. But tell me about staffing wise. I know we're in the after pandemic, or not even. We're still in the pandemic, slowly
Yeah.
getting out of it. But
Sure.
is it hard to get workers? How is it compared to what it was before pre-COVID?
Well, fortunately for our agency, when I've been in it 3 years.
Okay.
I moved here from Dallas, Texas. And so the agency I acquired, BRC, was owned by Filipinos. So my agency, all the caregivers are Filipinos. And so actually I found that in the North Shore area, that's the preference of most of my clients, is because Filipino caregivers have such a great reputation for being caring, loving, kind, Christian,
right?
All that, and that's a beautiful reputation. So
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah, well, that's really really good. But hiring them, or people that are looking for work, are they able to? How is that during that?
Well, I don't do it the same way that most. I don't advertise with, or I don't place ads in Monster.com or Indeed or any of those. When I have a job that comes up that we see is serious and they're not just shopping or kicking tires, and we have a job for someone,
right?
I just post it to my my list. I've got an email list of all my caregivers that work for me or not,
Okay.
for our agency, and they care enough to bring their friends.
Right.
That, and then I don't have problems with training, and I don't have problems with,
That's right.
knowing what the whole
Things
scenario
are-
is.
correct,
And
yeah.
so
It's word of mouth.
Our satisfaction rate's 100%. It's awesome.
I think that is wonderful. And we were kind of talking earlier, folks, about how with all the stimulus and all the people that are getting credits right now from the government, it's good for people that truly need it, but it has hurt us in some way.
Well, and in some ways it has, and in some ways it hasn't. I think everybody that wants a job can find work for sure. But what is done, I think, with the stimulus money out there and the people that have received it, they don't have as much of a dire need to get out and get to work, to feed the family, to feed themselves, do whatever. And so what it's done is a lot of people are sitting out the game, so it causes the supply of people to go lower, and so the demand for those people go up, and so that drives prices up. So what we've seen is in the last, I'd say, year, a $13 an hour to $15 an hour job is now $20 or so.
Wow. Okay.
So we've seen wages go up.
Right.
So if anybody wants to go to work,
Right.
please contact her and let her tell me, because I can find you something.
Oh my God. Well, it's good in some sense, but again, this is the hand that we're dealt with at this point.
Oh, it's reality.
Right?
Sure.
So it's, we gotta work with that. But I do appreciate that the short time that you have given me.
Oh, sure.
I know you've given us some kind of insight of how things are being done in your location, facility, patient's home, or in your agency. And you know, we always welcome people to let us know in any way that we could help, in any way that we could, you know, plug or anything like that. So there could be some form of, you know, the community resourcing.
Absolutely, I love that.
Yeah,
I love that.
Thank you so much,
It's
Sam.
great. Good luck to you.
I truly appreciate this time with you. And mga kababayan, yun po ang ating segment for this week. My name again is Melody Dizon, your Health Matters host, and I'm here with Mr. Sam Smith. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, welcome to Seeing with Dr. C. I'm Dr. Harold C. with the Chicago Eye Institute, located here at 5086 North Elston Avenue. Last month, we discussed cataracts and cataract surgery. This month, we wanted to discuss and answer any questions you may have in regards to surgery. Now, as a review, a cataract simply is a cloudiness of the lens that's inside the eye. Our goal is to safely go inside the eye to break up the lens and replace it with a clear lens. Now, how, you may ask, do we accomplish this? Well, we can do this one of two different ways. The first way is the traditional method, which is by hand. I enter the eye with a small blade in order to break up the cataract. The second way is the more state-of-the-art way, and the more modern way, and that's with the assistance of a laser. With a laser, we're able to enter the eye blade-free. Blade-free cataract surgery allows us to enter the eye not only blade-free, but it also allows us to break up the cataract blade-free, offering more stability and safety to the surgery. In addition, blade-free laser-assisted cataract surgery also allows us to correct for any astigmatism in which you may have. Astigmatism is measurements of the curvature of the eye. The more oval-shaped the eye is, the more astigmatism you have, and the more blurred the vision will be even after we remove your lens and replace it with a clear lens. So that with the laser and decreasing the astigmatism, your vision can be that much sharper. So after surgery, distance, you may not require any glasses. Now for up close, all you may need are over-the-counter reading glasses. While we do have lenses that we can use inside the eyes, which do offer the freedom for using glasses for both distance and for up close, there's only a select few of patients who may qualify for these lenses. Another question may be, will I be awake for the surgery? Well, this surgery occurs within a period of about 15 to 20 minutes, sometimes even sooner. So it actually is riskier to put patients under general anesthesia. For this type of surgery, you'll either have IV sedation or simply some Valium. And so while you are awake for surgery, we make sure that you're nice and well relaxed. Another question may be, will I need repeat surgery after this first one? And the answer to that is no. The lenses that we put in your eyes are good for a lifetime. What may occur, however, is that the area in which we put the lens, we call that the bag, that bag may become cloudy over time. That can occur months to years after cataract surgery and is very common. And if that does occur, then we simply do a simple laser, separate than the other laser we were previously discussing, to help to clean up that area behind the lens. That is an in-office procedure that takes no more than a minute or 2 minutes to do. Now, I know these are only just a few questions you may have in regards to cataract surgery, so feel free to reach out to us here at the Chicago Eye Institute. The number is 773-282-2000. And again, we're located at 5086 North Elston Avenue. I look forward to hearing from you, and have a good day.